Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Pickle Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. It's the NFL Week 6, and we are ready for some football. I'm your host, the commish, Henry Brick. Alongside me is fantasy football veteran, JB, the fantasy phenom. Today we got a jam-packed show for you. We're going to cover all the news and injuries around the NFL. We got some Week 6 picks. We got our studs, duds, and sleeper picks, and we also have a little contest we like to talk about. It's the Beat the Commish contest. So we got a lot of great stuff on tap for the day. You could give us a call during the show with any lineup questions. Just give us a call toll-free at 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, drop us a line at 347-539-5402. Of course, you can always hit us up in our Kick-Ass Fantasy chat room. We always got a lot of great questions in there to help you with your last-minute lineup questions. JB, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, great to be here as always, man. It's as you know, my week's already over. The Steelers lost Thursday night. I've been hiding under a rock. I've been in a depression for the past few days, but the football will probably bring me back out. I'll sit on the couch. I'll eat some good food, hang out with some good friends. But yeah, man, I'm just depressed right now.
Man, I'll tell you, that Steelers game, that was tough to watch. At the end there, and it also killed me, of course, the pools. I had the Steelers. I thought that would have been an easy win, and man, just tough, especially coming off the big Eagles game the week before. I thought this one would have been in the bag, but tough game. But a lot of good fantasy stuff happened out of that game, as we saw. Little Mendenhall goes out with an Achilles injury, and then his backup Redmond comes in, he gets hurt. And then they get this guy that we never even heard of come in at the end there.
Yeah, it was a very interesting game. A lot of bad things did happen. It was a short week, quick turnaround, travel, whatever you want to say. No excuse. It's a game they should have won. It's a game they had to win. The one bright spot I can say is in the new regime, the new Steelers that we have today. Do you realize they have never lost a game while having a losing record? So right now they're 2-3, which guarantees a victory for next week, essentially. So that's one bright spot I have to look forward to. Maybe they'll come back, keep that streak alive, and win a game.
That's good stuff,
yeah.
JB. As always.
Hey, I'm in the same predicament in our staff league, by the way. I'm also 2-3 and looking to pull ahead to 500 this week. So I hear you're doing pretty good in this league.
Yeah, I'm sitting 5-0. I've had some good matchups, and I certainly played some of the teams at the right time. So that's been a good thing. I'm certainly not the high scoring team in the league, but I've been getting lucky with some good matchups and good play out of my guys. So hopefully, knock on wood, I'll keep that streak alive going this week. We'll see how it goes.
In this league, you do realize that we're playing amongst the other, 10 other self-proclaimed experts. So, I have to admit, it's one of the most competitive leagues I'm in. We all take pride in our teams. We all did much research before the draft, and it's a lot of fun. And that somehow or other, that trophy will wind up on my mantle. So that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Well, I maybe me and you'll end up being at the end of the Super Bowl. We'll see how it goes, man. I'm looking forward to rest of it being real competitive. It's all good stuff. We got a lot of injuries we want to hit real quick here, JB. A lot of injuries this week. It's insane, actually. I'm going to start us off. We got the Chiefs starting quarterback Matt Castle out today with a concussion. Looks like Brady Quinn gets the nod, so we're going to see how that goes today.
Yeah, he can't do any worse. Rams quarterback Sam Bradford, his knee, he was listed as probable, but he practiced on Friday, so expect him to start.
Okay. RG3 has just been cleared to play today. He was knocked out of last week's game with what they're calling a mild concussion. Of course, he doesn't remember too much after getting hit, so it's kind of funny that they call it a mild concussion, but he has been cleared to play, and Kirk Cousins will certainly be there to back him up.
Okay, well, into the running back news. Bengals number 2, Bernard Scott, he was placed on injured reserve. Brian Leonard, and it looks like Cedric Pierman will be backing up the law firm this week.
Nice. Cardinals running back Ryan Williams was placed on IR this week with a big shoulder injury in last week's game. We'll have a plethora of running backs filling the void for Williams, which will probably be including Larod Stevens-Howling. There's William Powell, and I believe Alfonso Smith. So a big mess this has certainly created for the Cardinals' backfield.
I ain't kidding. Wow. And Chargers running back Ryan Matthews, he practiced on Friday, so he's expected to play this week. His role for the game is expected to be no worse than he did last week, even though he didn't get the start, Battle did, but he wound up being the main ball carrier.
Peyton Hillis out with an ankle injury, not that he's hopefully not on anyone's fantasy team. Sean Drawn, who has been getting some carries, will continue to back up Jamal Charles, and then something happens to him, he'll be the guy.
Colts starting running back Donald Brown. With a knee injury, he is out. Running back Vic Ballard. That's right, Vic Ballard will get the start today with number 3, DeLone Carter, backing him up.
I actually picked up Ballard in our staff league, so I do have him going today because I did have Donald Brown. So hopefully it'll pay off. Reggie Bush, still nursing that sore knee, is probable it should go today. Daniel Thomas, his backup, is out with a concussion. A lot of concussions going on. Lamar Miller will back up Bush for today.
Yeah, well, they've made the league much safer for these players, so there's less head injuries. Wait a minute, maybe not. Okay, running back Brandon Jacobs with a knee. He's questionable. Again, he practiced on Friday, and he is also expected and available for this week's game.
Andre Brown, the backup for Ahmad Bradshaw, out, another concussion. David Wilson will back him up, and actually they're planning on giving him a little bit of playing time, which was the original plan when they drafted him number 1 overall.
All right. Well, the Packers starting running back Cedric Benson was placed on injured reserve. He'll miss at least 8 weeks, and it looks like Alex Green will take over as the starter with James Starks and Brandon Sane backing him up. So a little shake-up there in Green Bay.
Patriots rookie running back Brandon Bolden, questionable with a knee injury. Did see some light work Friday. That usually means they'll get to play on Sunday. Shane Vereen, the backup running back there, also questionable with a foot injury. Did see some light work, but both expected to be available for today's game.
Okay. Wide receiver land. The Browns starting wide receiver Muhammad Massaquoi. He's got a hamstring injury, and he's out. And rookie wide receiver Travis Benjamin, also with a hamstring. He's doubtful, but he saw some light work on Friday. But I don't think he's expected to play. But wide receiver Josh Gordon is expected to start for Massaquoi.
Chargers starting wide receiver Mal Floyd was added to the injury report with a groin injury, was limited in practice Friday. So if you have any concerns with this injury with Floyd, because I believe they go on Monday night this week, you may want to come up with another receiver to play it safe.
Okay, Giants starting wide receiver Hakeem Nicks, his knee, foot, whatever he's got going on. He saw some light work again Friday, and looks like he's going to be a game-time decision. Backup wide receiver Dominic Hickson would start if Nicks can't play. And Ramsey Barden, concussion, again, much safer league these years. He practiced Friday, and he's expected to play.
Okay, we also have Giants tight end Marcellus Bennett. Has a hyperextended knee from last week, did practice Friday, is expected to start. It does have a tough matchup today against the Niners. If you have a better option to tight end, I'd definitely go with it.
Okay, Jets starting wide receiver Stephen Hill. He saw some light work Friday. I believe he hasn't played since week 1 with that injury, so it looks like they're just getting him back this week, and they need all the help they can get in that offense. But he's expected to play along with Chad Schilling, back him up. Jeremy Curley, he's got a finger problem, but I don't think that's going to stop him from playing, so he'll be a go as well.
Dustin Keller comes back finally this week. He had been out with a hamstring injury. Did see some light work Friday, and they definitely need him with all the with Santonio Holmes out of there. to be a good target for Sanchez today.
Yeah, Greg Jennings, out again. Wow. I mean, you're talking their number one guy for years. He's in a contract year. Who knows what's going to happen there? Thank God they have a host of young talent there. James Jones will start again for him, and I don't think they'll miss a beat.
And it looks like tight end Jermichael Finley is questionable with a shoulder injury. Did see some light work this past Friday. He will be a game-time decision.
Okay, Raiders wide receiver Darius Haywood-Bay, another concussion, probable. He practiced on Friday, and looks like he'll start.
And Rams starting wide receiver, as we all saw, Danny Amendola is out with that shoulder injury. You're going to see a plethora of receivers try to fill the void there with Steve Smith, Austin Pettis, Chris Givens, Brian Quick, Brandon Gibson. It's just a big mess there in Ramland.
Redskins starting wide receiver Pierre Garçon with a foot injury. He's questionable. He was added to the report after being limited in Friday's practice, and his looks like he's going to be a game-time decision too. It's not clear who would start if Garçon does not.
Okay, and finally, with the last injury we got here, Jerome Simpson, which had the lower back issue and a foot injury, is questionable. Did see some light work Friday. His final status will be decided in pregame warm-up. So I tell you, I was really disappointed with him not playing last week. So I'm going to wait another week till I see what he can do before I put him back in my starting lineup. All right, well, we finally got through all the injuries. The injury report today was brought to you by Car Toys, Distinctive Car Toys. If you want to get your car customized, they do anything from a keyless remote start all the way to full car customizations. They are number one in their class. Check out cartoys.com. That's Cartoys with a Z. They're located in Pleasantville, right outside of the Kmart Shopping Center. All right, right now we're going to open up the phone lines. We got toll-free call number 877-511-1024. If you got a Skype line, drop us line 347-539-5402. Of course, you can always check us out in our chat room. We're going to get to the phones just after a minute address from our sponsors. We'll be back right after this.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Piccalilli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccalilli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great drinks where everybody is a friend. If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalilli Inn.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemong. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalilli Inn.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Fantasy Football, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the Professor, the Commish, and Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry for the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. On the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Yeah, kickassfantasyfootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat.
know.
Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start on Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window film. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
And welcome back to the Pick a Lillian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, the Commissioner Henry Brick, alongside me, fantasy football veteran, the fantasy phenom, JB. We got a lot of great football to talk about today, a lot of fantasy stuff to help you get your lineup set. We have the phone lines open right now. You can give us a call right now, toll-free, 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, drop us a line, 347-539-5402. You can always hit us up in our chat room. Right now, we're going to go to the phone lines, JB. We got longtime listener, longtime follower here at the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show, Jersey in the house. Jersey, welcome to the show. What can we help you with this week?
Hey, good morning, guys. A couple of quick questions. One is, the first one is, do I keep Bennett in there as my tight end, or do I go with Grissom? I know Bennett's banged up. It is a PPR league. That's my first question. Do you want me to? And then my other one is, next week I lose 2 receivers. So I have Hawkins on, who's going against Pittsburgh next week, but also Roberts is available, but he's going against Minnesota in Minnesota. Do I stay with Hawkins, or do I pick up Roberts? That's my question. And I did put in Ballard, and I took Martin out. PPR league, 10-point rushing touchdown. They're my 3 questions to see if I did right or wrong.
Well, I'll tell you, I like Gresham over Bennett myself. I don't like Bennett coming off being banged up. He's got a tougher matchup. What do you think, JB?
No, actually, I love Gresham today. I think he's a must-start. I would have almost called him a sleeper today, but it's hard to call a guy a sleeper that's been this productive. But if you look at it out there in fantasy world, he's only owned in about 60 to 70% of most leagues. So I guess you can kind of classify him as one. But the guy's been getting at least five catches a week over the past couple of weeks. And, you give me a tight end that's catching the ball 5 times, a big body like that, a red zone threat. I love the guy. I think he's a must-start this week.
Okay, and then, Jersey, your second question was about Hawkins or go with Andre Roberts?
Right, for next week. I lose 2 receivers next week. So I'm going to start Cruz next week, but I lose Julio Jones, I lose Floyd. So I need a receiver. I have Hawkins, who's going against Pittsburgh, and then also Roberts was available on the waiver wire. He's got Minnesota at Minnesota. So I didn't know, do I stay what I have, or is Roberts a better play?
I mean, to me, Pittsburgh's defense, especially with the injuries, isn't really scaring me too much. But on the other hand, Roberts going against Minnesota is definitely a better matchup, I think. I mean, Minnesota's defense is definitely a defense that can be passed on without any problem. JB, you're more the Pittsburgh, a pro. So what do you think?
Well, if you listen, Jersey, to what I said in the beginning of the show, since Mike Tomlin has come on as head coach, the Steelers have never lost a game while they had a losing record. And as we all know right now, they're 2-3. If the trends continue, they should come out dominant next week. This is not a team that's going to lose 2 weeks in a row. I know Palomalu's hurt. I know it's more of an attitude and a swagger with this team. I don't see anything getting done offensively against this crew next week. And Roberts is he might be the number 1 targeted receiver on this team. Am I wrong? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like the guy gets a lot of balls thrown his way. And as the commish said, against Minnesota, I think he's going to find some openings, and, he could be very productive. I would go with Roberts.
Okay. And then your last question, Jersey, was something about...
It was, do I go with Alex Smith or Romo?
Alex Smith or Romo? Wow. Tell you what, Alex Smith's getting it done. But
and Romo killed me 2 weeks ago with his 5 turnovers. I lost by 2 points. I'm 4-1 in one league, 5-0 in the other.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Giants defense does not scare me. Niners are upset about what happened last year in the playoffs. They're home. It's certainly not a bad play, and Alex Smith's been getting it done. Of course, you do have Dallas coming off the bye week this week. Wow. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Alex Smith here, JB. What do you think?
I think I have to. Romo's been so hot or cold. I mean, not only just this year, but it seems like throughout his career, you never know which guy is going to show up. I don't want to ever have to throw the ball against the Baltimore defense. Like, that just scares the hell out of me. And you're right, the Giants secondary, they're beat up. I mean, I think they've got me, you, and Matt Lowerly playing defensive backs this week. So they're a depleted defense. And Alex Smith, although not the most prolific passer, I think that, they get that running game going. They get Frank Gore motoring, and then I think the passing lanes will open up.
I appreciate it, guys. I thank you guys very much. Best of luck to you guys this weekend. Talk to you next week, and thanks again for everything. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jersey.
All right, Jersey. Thanks for calling, man.
Bye-bye.
Yep. All right. That was Jersey in the house. He joins us every week here on the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I can remind everybody, you have any lineup questions, trade questions, waiver wire questions, feel free. Give us a call right now, 877-511-1024. That's toll free. If you have a Skype line, drop us a line, 347-539-5402. You can always hit us right here on Blog Talk Radio, right in our chat room. JB and I are here to help you till 12 o'clock today, help get your lineup set for Week 6 here. JB, I want to get right into the these picks of the week. This is where we run down the different positions, starting at quarterback, and just give some players who we really like and stand above maybe the rest that maybe aren't the obvious usual picks. These picks tend to stray off the norm. So especially with the bye weeks happening, a lot of injuries happening around, these picks usually come in handy, especially on weeks like today when you got a lot of teams off. So JB, why don't you start us off at the quarterback position? Who do you got?
Well, a guy that we just talked about, a team that we just talked about in Cincinnati, Andy Dalton this week, going up against the Cleveland Browns. He's got a lot of targets, like we just mentioned, Jermaine Gresham, a big body guy, A.J. Green, he's a top 5 wide receiver. I think that he's set to have a decent day. Okay.
I got Michael Vick going against Detroit. He's home. The Lions secondary is absolutely dreadful. I think Vick finds his way again. I think he holds on to the ball today, and really lights up Detroit's secondary. He has a good game.
How about Christian Ponder going up against the Redskins defense this week? The Redskins really can't seem to stop anybody, so he's definitely a player to overperform his normal role. And if he's your backup, roll with him. Don't have to look for the waiver wire. If you have him on your team, feel free to start him.
I got Andrew Luck going up against the Jets. Jets are without Revis the rest of the way here. Their defense seems to be in turmoil. The matchup is awesome. Luck's been getting it done. I continue to ride Luck the rest of the way here.
I just feel he might have played his Super Bowl last week, but his Jets are horrible though. The quarterback, Joe Flacco, he had an atrocious Week 5, but I think he's going to get it done against the Cowboys. Again, they may be able to stop Torrey Smith and Jacoby Jones, but they really have no answer for that shorter passing game. Ray Rice, Dennis Pitta, Ed Dixon. I think Flacco's going to have a big day.
Phillip Rivers versus the Denver Broncos. Denver secondary has not been very good so far, very questionable, as a matter of fact, so far this year. They do play on Monday Night Football. They are at home. Teams tend to get up and on these big Monday Night Football games, so loving Rivers here. Let's move on to the go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, time. We'll get into the tight ends here. The guy I just mentioned, Dennis Pitta, against that Dallas defense. I think that again they'll try to shut down the longer game, but like with the likes of Ray Rice, that shorter underneath stuff should be huge for them today, and Dennis Pitta should have a good day.
I got Jacob Tam, another Monday Night Football play. He was targeted 11 times last week. Peyton Manning, I think, will target him again a lot on Monday night against the Chargers.
Okay. How about Kyle Rudolph? Like I said, I had just mentioned Christian Ponder. Kyle Rudolph, he's been getting it done all season long, and against the Redskins, I don't see any slowing them down this week.
We got Coby Fleener against the New York Jets. He got targeted 9 times last week. This week, I think Luck will be looking for him in the red zone quite a bit.
How about tight end DJ Williams? He had a good game last week in relief of Jermichael Finley, and the Texans lost a linebacker, so this could be a chance for him to shine. But keep in mind, Williams is kind of unknown. If you need a bye week cover, he's worth a look.
And finally, tight end, I got Brandon Pettigrew versus the Birds. Listen, if you got a team playing the Birds and you have a tight end, that's a great play every week. So I'm sticking with that, and Pettigrew's a good play today.
Cool.
Let's move on now. We got the wide receiver positions. I'll start. We have Jeremy Maclin versus the Lions. I think Vic will be looking to him big time, especially in PPR leagues. Maclin is a great play today, and I think he even finds the end zone at least once.
How about Reggie Wayne? He should be back in old form today. He's got no Revis going to be hawking him all day. He'll definitely get some one-on-one coverage, and he should be able to beat Cromartie. So I think Wayne gets it done this week.
All right, and I got Miles Austin versus Baltimore. They are fresh off a bye week on the road versus the Ravens. The Ravens are giving up 14 catches a week to the wide receiver. Miles Austin should benefit big time from this.
Vincent Jackson coming off a bye week, and he's got the Chiefs at home. I think he's just going to go off. Vincent Jackson's a monster, and he'll get it done today.
And I got Dwayne Bowe. This might be a little bit of a surprise pick, JB, for you. I got Dwayne Bowe. He's playing against Tampa Bay with Brady Quinn even at the helm. He'll be throwing him the ball. If they don't hook up in this game, Bowe owners need to start looking for alternatives.
Wow.
Because the big thing I got here is Aqib Talib is out with a 4-game suspension, which is their number one corner. So Bowe should be free to be open all day. It's just a matter if Brady Quinn can get on the ball.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see what the young quarterback can do. I'm looking forward to actually taking a peek at that game. Also, you got I like Demaryius Thomas. He continues to be a favorite target of Peyton Manning, and the old man still has some left in the tank. So, start Thomas with confidence this week.
Okay. And now we're going to get into our running backs. I got Trent Richardson versus the Bengals. He had 2 touchdowns against them last time they played earlier in the year. I think he finds the same kind of success today at home. Well,
this week I'm loving the law firm. I've drafted him in 2 of my leagues, and he's going up against a Browns defense that, if you remember last week, a Matt Bradshaw tore them a new one, and I think that the law firm gets it done today. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is a must-start.
I got Reggie Bush versus the Rams. Great matchup, as I think Miami will run the ball all day on the Rams.
Michael Turner. He's been producing every week, and the Raiders' D is not all that scary. We all saw what Willis McGahee did to him last week, so I see Turner doing much the same. Figure about a 100-yard day and hopefully get that touchdown.
Okay, good stuff. And finally, I got Doug Martin versus the Chiefs. Today, he should get the running game in high gear as the Chiefs' defense is just bad.
Well, Ryan Matthews proved last week that he was healthy, and the Broncos proved that they can allow 250-yard rusher against them. So when these two forces meet on Monday night and in Matthews' home field, I expect some good things out of him this week. Ryan Matthews, he's a good start.
All right, great stuff, JB. That was the Pickle's Picks of the Week. That was brought to you by the Pickle Inn. Pickle Inn is located on Route 206 in Chemung, New Jersey. They have world-class wings, ice-cold beer. They got every game on with DirecTV. Why don't you head out there today on Route 206 in Chemung, the Pickle Inn. Ask for Everett. He's our fantasy football bartender. And he's got a Sunday Funday shirt waiting for you. Got a lot of great drink specials. They got their takeout specials if you got a lot of friends or family coming over to the house. 10 wings, 10 ears, and 10 wings, 10 ears, and 10 tails. That's right.
Tails.
$25 today only. Just mentioned the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Ask for Everett out there at the Pickle Inn. All right, when we come back, we're going to get into some reaches of the week and even our studs, duds, and sleepers. You're listening to the Pickle Inn Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show.
Fantasy Football, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the professor, the commish, and fantasy insider Matt Lowry for the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. On the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Yeah, kickassfantasyfootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Piccalilli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccalilli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great treats where everybody is a friend. If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalilli Inn.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemung. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalilli Inn.
And welcome back to the Piccalilli Inn Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry the Commish Brick. Alongside me is the fantasy phenom, JB. I want to remind everybody, you give us a call today and help you with any of your last-minute lineup questions. You can give us a call toll-free at 877-511-1024. Skype line, you can drop us a line at 347-539-5402. Or, of course, you can hit us in our Kick-Ass Fantasy chat room, which we're headed right now to Mr. JB. We have DJ Cobb in the house in the chat room. He wants to know, he's deciding between Andrew Hawkins and William Powell. Help! What do you think there, JB?
Well, I'm hoping this is a flex position. Well, obviously it's got to be a flex position. You got wide receiver versus running back.
Back up to A.J. Green.
Yep.
Right.
Well, Powell looks like he's getting more and more playing time, yet he is not quite the starter, although Sean Green has been very disappointing. So you look for Powell's, touches to increase. Is this the week they're going to let him run loose?
This is William Powell.
Oh.
This is William Powell, not Bilal Powell.
Bilal Powell, yeah. I'm thinking Jets running back.
Right. That's my bad. William Powell. So he's going to be probably one of the three players filling the void for Ryan Williams out there in Arizona.
So you still have the same effect. You've got a backup running back, but in this case, he does look like he's going to be the guy who's going to be getting it done. If it's William Powell, my bad. It looks like he probably will get the nod. He will get the start. And as far as Hawkins, he may see some openings this week. Any of the double coverage will drift in the direction of A.J. Green, Jermaine Gresham. They may get some safety help when you get down towards the goal line. So there may be some openings for Hawkins. And keep in mind, he is the number 2 receiver there. He should be on the field every play. But I don't know. You got to like a running back that's going to be getting a start, right? I mean, you're looking for him to get at least 20 touches today. So I think I got to give Powell the nod.
I couldn't agree with you more, JB. I think Powell is home against Buffalo, and Hawkins, you're right, is a number 2 receiver going up against Cleveland. I think it's a no-brainer. Go with your running back over the number 2 receiver here with Powell. All right, that's great stuff. If you have any other last-minute lineup questions, any trade help, waiver wire help, please just drop us a line, 877-511-1024, or just ask us a question in our chat room. Right now, we want to get right into our Reaches of the Week. This is where we kind of dig down deep for you, especially with the teams on a bye this week. I know your teams like the Saints are off this week. You have Carolina off this week. There's a lot of big name players that are out, and a lot of teams are grasping for what they can and go with the best possible start. So hopefully we'll be able to help you out. I'm going to give you the first one there, JB. Who's your first reach of the week?
Okay, this may be the first time that we talked about him in a positive light in a long time. But how about Kevin Kolb? First, the Bills' defense is bad. I mean, Matt Castle killed them. Mark Sanchez actually looked like an NFL quarterback against them. And now Kevin Kolb gets to play them. And it looks like he's missing his running game, so it'll be just like when he was playing for Andy Reid again.
Good stuff. You mentioned him actually just a few minutes before. How about Bilal Powell? He's at home versus the Colts. Still not named the starter over Sean Green, but it's coming. He was in more plays than Green just last week. Green is in the last year of his contract, but certainly not performing like he needs to be. Powell's a great reach this week if you need him at running back with your starter on a bye.
Okay, now let's just go back to the guy that I thought we were talking about. Right, we actually were talking about, and that would be William Powell. He's looks like he's going to be the man standing in the Arizona backfield this week. And as we just said, like a starting running back, if you need a bye week fill, or if you just, maybe you've got some banged up injured players, if you can get them out there, William Powell, he's a good start this week.
All right, and then I got my last big reach of the week is going to be Carson Palmer versus the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is capable of putting up huge numbers this week versus Oakland, which means Palmer will have to throw it a ton. So if you got Breeze, Cutler, or Cam on a bye, not a bad bye week reach if you need him. Plus, we mentioned earlier in the injury segment that they do get DHB back, so that's really good news for Palmer.
Yeah. Should prove to be a decent day for him.
Absolutely. So that's our reaches of the week. One thing I want to get into a little bit, we talked about it at the top of the show. We have a partnership with the FantasyPlayerExchange.com. They're offering a free game. It's called the Beat the Commish game. You basically put up a lineup against me. Right now,
and then they basically
open up an account. Basically, they do. I've been getting killed, so it's basically been an easy win for you. It's just $2 to play. The person that beats you by the biggest margin gets $50. And this week, if you open up an account, you get 10 free bucks. So that's 5 free plays. We like you to play in the Beat the Commish game, and then use the rest of that $8 if you want to continue playing every week in the Beat the Commish game or any other game on FantasyPlayerExchange.com. Feel free to do so. By the way, in the Beat the Commish game, at the end of the season, whoever beat me by the largest margin gets $1,000. So here's an opportunity to not even take a dime out of your pocket and win $1,000. So what you want to do is check out FantasyPlayerExchange.com, and you want to click today's date, which is the 14th. You'll get a listing of all the games. You want to look for the Beat the Commish game. It's also listed right at the top of their page in large letters. You can also go on our website at kickassfantasyfootball.com, and right at the top of the page you'll see the Beat the Commish game. It'll take you right to it. And basically it's kind of like a stock market game. You could play with players from the NFL. You can play with players from Major League Baseball. They even have college on there. So you can basically play fantasy every day of the week. Basketball is coming with the NBA season just upon us shortly here. So they got it's basically a multi-sport daily fantasy game where you can win some large cash prizes. So beyond football, and football is our big thing here at Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show, but they got fantasy basically all year round at FantasyPlayerExchange.com. And JB, I'm going to share with you some of the players that I have marked, because I don't mind telling people, hey, I don't think anyone can beat me this week, and because I think I finally really put it together the right way. I think you got to go for a lot of reaches when you put your lineup in the Beat the Commish game. So I went with Donnie Avery.
So anybody listening right now, listen to who the Commish is picking this week. Go to the website, pick completely different players, and I'm telling you, you've got a good shot to beat them this week. All right, Commish. All right, Commish, continue.
All right. Thank you. All right, I got Donnie Avery, wide receiver for the Colts. I picked him up for just $34.97. You know what? I think Luck is going to be looking to him with some deep balls here. A lot of attention getting paid to Reggie Wayne. I think he was a nice value pick that can end up paying off big time for me. My stud pick of my 5 players that I chose was Percy Harvin. He's getting it done every which way, running the ball, catching the ball. He does kick returns. He's just an absolute stud. And, he was my highest dollar player, $96.60. I also went with Brandon Gibson for the St. Louis Rams. With Amendola out, they got to throw the ball to somebody. Why not let it be Brandon Gibson? He's a value pick at $33.60, and I have 4 shares on him. We talked about him a little earlier in the show. Matter of fact, these last 2 players, Vic Ballard, who was the big waiver wire pickup this week with Donnie Brown going out, and at $15, guess what? We have him projected on our website at kickasfantasyfootball.com at 88 yards and a touchdown. And if he does that, he'll pay off big time for me today. And finally, I know you liked him today, JB, William Powell, the Arizona Cardinals running back, at $15.75, another strong value pick that should pay off pretty big time as they have a home game today.
All right, so you're just giving the world the key to success. Beat the commish.
Absolutely.
It's all there. It's all there for them.
It really is. I mean, we just went through a bunch of our reaches of the week, and these are basically.
Sure, people can take the advice we've given them and try to spin it into their advantage. Oh, I think I've lost you, Commish. Hello.
There we go. Sorry about a little technical glitch there. But
there you are, Henry. Hey, your mic went down.
You're absolutely right, though. There's an opportunity to pick up some cash doing what you love to do, play fantasy football every Sunday here at KickAssFantasyFootball.com and Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Good stuff. All right, when we come back, we're going to get right into our studs, duds, and sleeper picks right after this message from our sponsors.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Piccalilli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccalilli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around the cheer. You can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great treats where everybody is a friend. You can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalilli Inn.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemung. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalilli Inn.
I'm sexy and I know.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat. Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start on Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window film. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
And welcome back to the Pick-A-Lillion Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, the Commish, Henry Brick. Alongside me is 20-year fantasy veteran, JB, the Fantasy Phenom. Hey, JB, before we get into our studs, and sleeper picks, I wanted to ask you if you are affected in any way in any of the many leagues that I know you play in with the change in the scoring system from the Pittsburgh Steelers game the other night. You know, they had Mendenhall originally down as a run.
Oh,
I know
what you're saying. And then they considered it a pass from Roethlisberger.
Right, so that gave Roethlisberger a touchdown, and if you're in a PPR league, that gave an extra point to Mendenhall for the catch, and then obviously you got the touchdown score. So, it affected me, and I had that scenario happen, a change at 4 of the leagues I was in, and I actually got burned in 3. I was just wondering if you were lucky enough to avoid anything there, or how did you make out?
Yeah, it didn't directly affect me. It definitely affected a game in one of my leagues where the extra 6 points to Roethlisberger gave the other team the nod. They wound up winning by like 4 points. So yeah, I'm sure that it's affected millions of fantasy outcomes last weekend, or this week. But yeah, that was a really weird call how they called that, because in watching the game, it kind of looked more like a pitch to me. And I thought it was lateral, but I guess there was forward movement on the ball if they were going to call it a pass. So, interesting.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, what a small thing, but what a major impact that has with all the millions of people playing fantasy football out there. Crazy stuff. Just thought I'd ask. And hey, if any of our listeners out there had something had it happen in either for you or against you, we'd like to hear from you. Give us a call toll free at 877-511-1024. If you have any last-minute lineup questions, if you have a Skype line, drop us a line, 347-539-5402. You can always hit us up in our Kick-Ass chat room. JB and I are here to help you with any last-minute lineup questions to help you win your Week 6 big game today in fantasy football. All right, JB.
On a side note, though, Commish, however, last week I'm in a league where we give 1/10 of a point. So it's, like a running back gets 1 point for every 10 yards, but if he gets 5 yards, you would get a half a point, so on and so forth.
Oh.
I lost a game last week by 3 yards. I was beat basically 101 to 102.7. So yeah, literally, I lost a fantasy matchup last week by 3 yards. So
my God.
It all goes how the ball bounces, you know what I mean? And then you sit there and you're second-guessing yourself. You're looking at your bench, who got 2 more points and whatnot, But it's just the craziness that we all love and endure week in and week out. But it's what makes it so great,
Oh, man, to be beat by like that. I feel your pain. It's just, I think I much rather get blown out by 50 than lose.
Exactly.
Right.
At least let me know I didn't have a chance. But, like I said, you sit there and you second-guess yourself. Oh, I could have changed the kicker and won the game. Anything. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable when stuff like that happens. But it is what makes it so fun. It kept it interesting right up until the end. So
it really does. It really does. That's what fantasy football is all about. All the little decisions that you make with your team, and did you look at the right matchup? Did you make the right decision? Yeah, I get through it every Sunday, so I know. I feel your pain, my friend. I feel your pain. All right, why don't we get right into our studs, and sleeper picks for Week 6? Why don't we start off with you, JB? Who's your stud of the week?
Well, maybe we can help some of these folks out there listening and take some of the guesswork out of it. This week, my stud is Julio Jones. The Oakland secondary has been playing more like a third or fourth dairy. I mean, they're atrocious. They've been giving up 283 yards a game through the air. Julio will have his way today with that secondary.
Nice. Great pick. I'm glad to hear that because I got Julio in several of my leagues. I pegged him to be one of the top receivers this year, so I hope you're right on that. That's good stuff. Sticking with the receivers, my stud of the week is going to be Percy Harvin. He goes up against Washington. The guy is the true meaning of the word stud. He catches it, he runs it in, he does kick returns for touchdowns, and I love the matchup. Harvin, stud of the week for me.
Now, my dud this week is Steven Jackson. This pains me to call Jackson a dud. I loved him going into the draft. I took him in nearly all of my leagues this year. However, Miami is the best run defense in the league, period. And let's face it, Jackson ain't the runner he used to be a couple of years ago.
All right, that's good stuff. My dud of the week is going to have to be Joe Flacco versus Dallas. Dallas is fresh off the bye, and those two corners, I believe, will shut down Bolden and Torrey Smith today. So I'm thinking Joe Flacco is a dud. I look for Ray Rice to be the difference maker in that game.
All right. And if you've been listening to us from the top of the hour, we kind of mentioned this guy's name in there somewhere, but Mark Sanchez gets back an old security blanket this week. He gets back Dustin Keller. And with his other options being Stephen Hill, a rookie who hasn't played since week one, or Jeremy Curley, I think Sanchez is going to enjoy seeing a familiar face out there when the going gets tough. Look for him to dump the ball off to Dustin Keller. I think he can come back and make an impact immediately.
All right, my sleeper pick of the week was the waiver wire pick of the week, Vic Ballard versus the Jets. Don Brown out 2 to 3 weeks. Bruce Arians loves this guy. I think he unleashes him this week versus the Jets, projecting him for 88 yards and a touchdown. All right, so there we go. That's our studs and sleepers. We'll check back next week. JB, we'll keep track of this kind of stuff, and let's see how we made out with our picks. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds good. Always fun to look back and laugh when I'm more right than you are. I mean, what else could I say? That's the goal. I try to see. Some people go to the Fantasy Player Exchange and they try to beat the commission once a week. It's my goal to outdo the commission every single chance I get. So, I'm just looking for a point to shine.
All right, good stuff. All right, why don't we get right into some of the matchups of the week? We got a few minutes left in the show, and we'll just mention a few and talk about maybe some fantasy players you might want to think about or maybe not think about, JB. So why don't we start with, I know in our local area here, Detroit at Philadelphia is a pretty big game. That's a 1 o'clock game. Philly's going through a lot of problems with holding on to the ball. Vic's having the big problems. He's throwing interceptions. He's fumbling constantly. What do you think about this game? Who are the guys people should watch out for as far as fantasy goes?
Well, of course, the obvious starts on the Lions side. You got to like Matthew Stafford, you got to like Calvin Johnson, and you got to like Brandon Pettigrew. Their running game's a mess. I don't know what to do against, Michael George, Jacques Bell, or, against that Eagles front seven, that wide 9 they throw at you sometimes. I like the Lions passing game. As far as the Eagles, I think Jeremy Maclin could have a huge game in this match. And Vic, if he can hold on to the damn ball and not fumble it 3 times this week, he can be productive. And, of course, you got to like LaShawn McCoy. He's a premier back in this league. And what happened? Has Andy Reid actually been running the ball past a few weeks? I mean, my God, it seems like McCoy's ran the ball more in the past 2 weeks than he has in the past 2 seasons. So maybe they're realizing that this kid's got something,
Yeah, it's just amazing the way they underutilize him. It's just absolutely a shame because as great as he is, he can even be better. Okay, let's move on to another game, JB. Let's look at here's a great 4 o'clock game today. You got the New England Patriots at the Seattle Seahawks today. Who do you like in this game fantasy-wise?
Well, I mean, it's funny. You rewind the clocks, and if this game was played either last year or maybe even in the beginning of this year, it would just look like they were going to go into Seattle and roll. However, a couple of things. Number one, teams traveling across the country always seem to have a problem. And let's face it, Seattle, they don't call them the 12th man stadium for nothing. The crowd is always into it there. And their defense is come alive. I mean, I think they're ranked in the top 5 in both against the pass and against the run this year. That Seattle defense has been rejuvenized. So what would normally be, automatic picks, I'm not telling you not to start Tom Brady. I'm not telling you not to start Wes Welker. But don't be surprised if their production is a little bit more limited this week than you would originally expect. I think, I can see them all getting some good production, including, Rob Gronkowski, the big tight end. Look for Brady to find him as well. But don't be surprised if Seattle puts a little bit of a hindering on these guys. They're still going to be worth a start, though. And the other side of the ball, you got to love Marshawn Lynch. The guy is just an absolute beast. Other than that, I really don't know if there's much on the Seattle side that I can tout starting. But Marshawn Lynch is definitely a beast, and he's going to get it done.
Mr. Skittles, the beast, Marshawn Lynch, love him as well myself. Okay, we got another great 4 o'clock game here. It's this is sort of a rematch from last year's big NFC Championship game. Got the New York Football Giants against the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran. The Giants got to travel, like you were just talking about, traveling from East Coast to West Coast here. So what do you think in this game? Who do you like, and who should we not like in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost the same scenario of what we just talked about. Exactly. You got a team traveling out into a house where there is just another outstanding defense. You have to like Hakeem Nicks if he does get the start. He's a big-bodied guy, and I don't care who they try to put on him. When you're built like that, you're going to catch the ball. And, and then Eli's just one of those guys who always seems to get it done in the clutch. We don't like to think of him as, or some of us do, some of us don't. The debate continues on whether or not he is an elite quarterback. But I'll tell you what, man, there's not a better fourth quarter quarterback out there. He always seems to get it done when he absolutely needs to. Will he be able to pull it off today? I'm not so sure. I like Frisco to win the game, and I kind of like him to do it by just kind of, more of a power football game. I think Frank Gore is going to run it right at them, and they're going to beat up that secondary with another big-bodied guy in Vernon Davis. I don't know if the wide receivers, Mario Manningham, Michael Crabtree, I don't know if either of those receivers are going to be getting it done, or even a Randy Moss, but the bigger-bodied guys, I think, get the nod today. Frank Gore, Vernon Davis, both should have good games.
Okay, great stuff, JB. This will be the last game we talk about before we wrap up the show. We got the Monday night game, Denver Broncos at the San Diego Superchargers. Who do you like in this one?
Well, first of all, I just love the game. You just have to love division rivalry games, number one, and then to put them in the spotlight and they get the showcase of the Monday night, it's just awesome. And then you got, two notoriously great quarterbacks, Peyton Manning and Phillip Rivers, getting to go head-to-head and try to showcase this. With that being said, hey, I mentioned it, I think, last week. This is the time of the year when the Chargers normally seem to really turn it on. We're used to seeing them start off really slow the first 3-4 weeks of the season. They may go 1-3, and everybody's got their, really down on the Chargers. This year they're off to a pretty good start, and this is about the time they normally start to hit their stride. I like Phillip Rivers in this game. I like Ryan Matthews in this game, and I think that he's actually, starting to develop that. There's with Meacham and with Floyd, he's just getting that rapport with his wide receivers. So I like the Chargers passing attack in this game. And as far as for the Broncos, Peyton Manning to Demaryius Thomas has been really strong. It's been awesome. I expect that to continue. And what can you say, man? Willis McGahee, he's just getting better with age. I mean, he really is. This guy, last year he had a monster year, and this year he just keeps it rolling again. I mean, how long ago was it that the Bills, cut him? It just seems like a lifetime ago. And but he's doing awesome. He's the ageless wonder.
All right. Stuff, as always, the Fantasy Phenom, JB. You can check out JB and me, the commish, the professor, Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry, all our thoughts, all our projections, right at kickassfantasyfootball.com. You can check me and JB out each and every Sunday right here on Block Talk Radio at 11 o'clock to help you with any of your last-minute lineup questions. I want to thank my co-host, JB, for joining me this week. I want to thank all our bloggers, callers, and chat room followers for helping us out each week, having a great show here at the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. We'll see you again right here next week at 11 a.m. And remember, if you're not playing fantasy football, you're probably spending a little bit too much time watching the Hallmark Channel. Have a great day, everybody.